Welcome to our chronicle of 2024, a year etched in India's memory for a relentless series of disasters. From the towering Himalayas to the coasts caressed by the Indian Ocean, the subcontinent found itself grappling with the raw power of nature's fury and the heart-wrenching consequences of unforeseen accidents. Over the next hour, we journey through a year marked by landslides, floods, cyclones and accidents that tested the spirit of India. We will witness the devastation, the struggle for survival, and the extraordinary resilience of communities confronted by tragedy. This is not just a recounting of events, but a testament to the human spirit, the unwavering will to rebuild, and the importance of learning from these events to fortify ourselves for the future. The monsoon season, a time of life-giving rains, turned tragically cruel in Ankola, Karnataka. The very earth beneath the feet of the unsuspecting gave way, unleashing a torrent of mud and rock. The landslide, a horrifying spectacle of nature's raw power, swallowed homes, shops and everything in its path. The once familiar landscape transformed into a scene of utter devastation. Rescue workers toiled tirelessly, their determination fueled by the faintest glimmer of hope, the chance of finding survivors amidst the debris. Families clung to each other, their faces etched with worry and the unbearable pain of loss. The Ankola landslide served as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of our planet and the vulnerability of human life in the face of such catastrophic events. As the dust settled, the long and arduous task of rebuilding began, driven by the unyielding spirit of the people of Ankola. A thick grey shroud descended upon the Indo-Gangetic plains, engulfing cities and villages in a blanket of toxic smog. The air, heavy with pollutants, grew difficult to breathe, casting an eerie, unhealthy pallor over the land. This was not a natural phenomenon, but a man-made crisis. The unrelenting pace of industrialization, vehicular emissions and agricultural practices had combined to create a monster, a suffocating smog that knew no borders. From Delhi to Lahore, millions gasped for breath, their eyes stinging, their lungs burning. Hospitals overflowed with respiratory illness patients, a stark testament to the deadly impact of the polluted air. The smog crisis forced both India and Pakistan to confront a shared environmental challenge, demanding immediate action and long-term solutions to curb the pollution that threatened the health and well-being of millions. It served as a wake-up call, a desperate plea from the environment itself demanding respect and responsible stewardship. The Koshi River, often referred to as the Sorrow of Bihar, lived up to its ominous name in 2024. Swollen by relentless monsoon rains, the river breached its banks, unleashing a torrent of destruction upon the unsuspecting villages that dotted its floodplain. Homes were reduced to rubble, fields of crops vanished beneath a sea of muddy water, and livelihoods were washed away in an instant. The floodwaters, a relentless force of nature, carved new paths, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. The plight of the people was heart-wrenching. Families, huddled on rooftops or clinging to whatever remained of their belongings, awaited rescue. The air buzzed with the sound of helicopters ferrying survivors to safety. In the aftermath of the deluge, the true scale of the disaster unfolded. The stench of decay hung heavy in the air, a grim reminder of the lives lost. Yet, amidst the despair, the indomitable spirit of the people shone through. The Arabian Sea, a source of livelihood and recreation for many Mumbaikars, turned into a watery grave on that fateful day. A pleasure boat filled with families enjoying an evening outing capsized, sending its passengers plunging into the dark waters. Panic ensued as people struggled to stay afloat amidst the chaos and confusion. The cries for help pierced the night, but the unforgiving sea swallowed many before help could arrive. Rescue boats raced against time, their searchlights cutting through the darkness as they desperately searched for survivors. Each life saved brought a glimmer of hope, but the grim reality of the tragedy was inescapable. The Mumbai boat accident served as a painful reminder of the importance of safety regulations and the need for constant vigilance, especially when venturing into the vast and unpredictable expanse of the sea. As the city mourned its lost souls, questions lingered about accountability and the measures needed to prevent such tragedies from recurring. The picturesque hills of Vilangad Kozhikode bore the brunt of nature's fury as torrential rains triggered a massive landslide. The earth, loosened by days of incessant downpours, gave way, sending a cascade of mud and debris crashing down the slopes. Homes, shops and even a bus stand were swallowed whole by the landslide, leaving behind a trail of destruction that stretched for hundreds of meters. The once familiar landscape transformed into an unrecognizable swathe of mud and rubble. Rescue workers, their faces grim with determination, braved treacherous conditions to reach the disaster zone. Every hour brought fresh challenges as the rain continued to lash down, hindering rescue efforts and raising fears of further landslides. The Vilangad landslide served as a stark reminder of the vulnerability of communities living in hilly regions, highlighting the importance of early warning systems and disaster preparedness measures. As the rescue operations continued, the nation watched with bated breath, praying for the safe return of those still trapped beneath the debris. The winding mountain roads of Almora, Uttarakhand, often treacherous during the monsoon season, became the scene of a horrific bus accident. A passenger bus, carrying locals and tourists alike, plunged into a deep gorge, claiming the lives of many on board. The impact of the crash echoed through the valley, drawing the attention of nearby villagers who rushed to the scene to offer assistance. The sight that greeted them was one of utter devastation. The mangled wreckage of the bus, the cries of the injured, and the heartbreaking silence of those who had perished. Rescue teams, faced with the daunting task of retrieving survivors from the treacherous terrain, worked tirelessly through the night. Every life saved was a victory against the odds, a testament to the bravery and dedication of the rescuers. The Almora bus accident served as a grim reminder of the importance of road safety, especially in hilly regions prone to landslides and other hazards. It highlighted the need for improved infrastructure, stricter safety regulations, and responsible driving practices to prevent such tragedies. The Bay of Bengal, a breeding ground for cyclones, churned out yet another powerful storm cyclone, Asna. Gaining strength over the warm ocean waters, Asna barreled towards the eastern coast of India, its path tracked by anxious meteorologists. Landfall brought with it a terrifying display of nature's fury. Howling winds exceeding 100 kilometers per hour ripped through coastal villages, tearing down trees, ripping roofs off homes, and flinging debris through the air like deadly projectiles. The storm surge, a wall of water pushed ashore by the cyclone's powerful winds, inundated low-lying areas, turning streets into raging rivers. Fishermen caught in the storm's path struggled to secure their boats as the sea whipped itself into a frenzy. In the aftermath of Asna's fury, the true extent of its destructive power became evident. Homes lay in ruins, power lines snaked across flooded streets, and the air was thick with the smell of salt water and decay. Yet amidst the devastation, the spirit of resilience shone through as communities rallied together to rebuild their lives. The industrial town of Achutapuram, Andhra Pradesh, was rocked by a deafening explosion as a fire engulfed a pharmaceutical factory. The inferno, fueled by flammable chemicals stored within the facility, raged for hours, sending thick plumes of black smoke billowing into the sky. Firefighters, battling intense heat and toxic fumes, struggled to contain the blaze. The air was thick with the acrid smell of burning chemicals, making it difficult for rescue workers to breathe, even with protective gear. As the fire raged, fears grew for the safety of workers trapped inside the factory. Families of employees gathered outside the gates, their faces etched with worry and despair, desperately seeking news of their loved ones. The Achutapuram factory explosion served as a tragic reminder of the importance of industrial safety protocols. It highlighted the need for regular inspections, proper storage of hazardous materials, and adequate fire safety measures to prevent such disasters. In the wake of the tragedy, investigations began to determine the cause of the explosion and to hold those responsible accountable for the loss of life and the environmental damage caused by the fire. As if one cyclone weren't enough, India's eastern coast was dealt a second blow as Cyclone Dana formed in the Bay of Bengal barely a month after Asna's devastation. The storm, following a similar trajectory to its predecessor, intensified rapidly, fueled by warm ocean waters. Landfall brought with it a familiar scene of destruction. Howling winds, torrential rains, and a storm surge that swallowed low-lying areas. Trees were uprooted, power lines snapped, and homes were reduced to rubble as Dana unleashed its fury. Coastal communities, still reeling from the impact of Cyclone Asna, found themselves facing another round of displacement and devastation. The back-to-back cyclones tested the limits of their resilience, leaving many feeling exhausted and overwhelmed. Cyclone Dana served as a stark reminder of the increasing frequency and intensity of extreme weather events, likely linked to climate change. It underscored the urgent need for disaster preparedness, early warning systems, and climate change mitigation efforts to protect vulnerable communities. In the aftermath of Dana's wrath, the task of rebuilding began anew. A daunting task made even more challenging by the cumulative impact of two major cyclones in such a short span of time. While cyclones often grab the headlines with their dramatic displays of wind and rain, deep depressions, though slower moving, can be equally devastating. Deep depression. Bob 05, forming over the Bay of Bengal, brought with it days of relentless rainfall over central and eastern India. Rivers overflowed their banks, inundating vast swathes of farmland and villages. The slow and steady deluge caught many off guard, leaving them stranded in their homes as the floodwaters rose around them. The stagnant floodwaters, a breeding ground for disease, posed a serious health risk to those living in affected areas. Outbreaks of waterborne illnesses, such as cholera and diarrhea, became a major concern for health officials already struggling to cope with the scale of the disaster. Deep depression. Bob 05 highlighted the importance of investing in flood control measures, such as strengthening river embankments and improving drainage systems to mitigate the impact of such events. It also underscored the need for effective early warning systems to alert communities to the threat of flooding and to facilitate timely evacuations. As the floodwaters receded, the true cost of the disaster became apparent: damaged crops, lost livelihoods, and the long and arduous task of rebuilding homes and infrastructure. These events of 2024, a relentless series of natural calamities and unforeseen tragedies, have left an indelible mark on India's landscape and on the lives of millions of its citizens. The images of devastation, the stories of loss and suffering, serve as a stark reminder of the fragility of human existence in the face of nature's fury and the unpredictable nature of our world. Yet, amidst the despair, we have also witnessed extraordinary resilience, the unyielding spirit of humanity, shining through the darkest of times. We have seen communities coming together, sharing the little they have, and supporting each other through unimaginable hardship. We have witnessed the bravery of first responders, risking their own lives to save others. As India moves forward, it carries with it the lessons learned from these disasters. The importance of disaster preparedness, early warning systems, and building resilient infrastructure has never been clearer. Equally important is the need to address the root causes of some of these events, such as climate change, and to adopt sustainable practices that protect both our environment and our future. Thank you for watching.